You only need to know me. I will be the one.
Ever since the reintroduction of Rob Lucci into the story of One Piece here at Egghead Island, I've been wondering what Oda has planned for him in the near or distant future. Is this where it all ends? Or where something else begins? I'm referring to Rob Lucci's character arc and where it goes from here. Oda has heavily implied Egghead Island might be destroyed, that what destroyed Luzia Kingdom could happen to Egghead Island too. Poetic to think Vegapunk and this island could be killed by his own creation, like Dr. Frankenstein, the father haunted by the monster he brought into this world. An experiment run amok. Vegapunk telling us he has sinned greatly, flown too close to the sun by creating the mother flame. Or maybe something else will happen to turn the final page and close out the book of Lucci at long last. What I will say is the arrival of the Gorosei has given me several ideas. A few possible outcomes for Rob Lucci's future that some of you have probably considered, or maybe you haven't. So in chapter 1111 we got the aftermath of Zoro cutting down Rob Lucci from chapter 1110. Despite Oda's portrayal of the extensive damage Zoro inflicted on Lucci, his eyes temporarily going white, hit by Zoro's advanced Conquerors coated blades, only for Zoro to express surprise in chapter 1111 that Lucci was still standing, as if nothing had happened. Yes, the same nothing happened scenario that played out with Zoro during Thriller Bark. Zoro standing in his own pool of blood, injuries laid bare, his will to fight remaining intact. Similarly, Rob Lucci let out a defiant roar and turned to face Zoro again, but he got away. Yes, Rob Lucci lost, but Oda has written this ending as if to say Lucci lives to fight another day. A potential future for Lucci could be this then. Lucci unlocking Conquerors. If you think back to another scene of someone that was in service of evil, chapter 782, it is titled The Champion of Evil, and we get a Conquerors clash between Luffy and Doflamingo and learn about the rare quality that conquering kings have in common. How Doflamingo was raised to be a champion of evil since a boy, no different than Rob Lucci training under Cypher Pole for the world government since a boy. The chapter prior to this, 781, Doflamingo almost collapsed after being hit by Law's Gamma Knife. But Treble reminded Doflamingo that a king never falls to his knees. And so, Rob Lucci refusing to fall despite Zoro's attack, mirroring this moment with Doflamingo and Zoro's Nothing Happened moment in the past, refusing to kneel, refusing to be defeated, conquering loss. Perhaps hinting at Lucci getting Conquerors down the road. Even the awakening of Lucci's Devil Fruit supports this, as Shaka Vegapunk explains that Zoan awakenings typically take control of the user's personality. But Rob Lucci maintained his, as if to say Lucci conquered the will of his inner devil so that his body, mind, and spirit were in perfect alignment, unison with the ability. And while Kaku has also awakened, maybe not everyone that shows potential or early signs of Conquerors unlocks it. It can't be trained. You earn it over time. Is it also possible that this matchup between Zoro and Lucci was deliberate in so much as showcasing similar personalities? Personalities finely tuned to Zoro's blades and Lucci's Devil Fruit, Lucci's claws. Both bloodthirsty, yes, but so much more. Similar roles to be played even. Zoro wanted to cut people, Lucci wanted to kill people. Beyond that, Zoro once told us that scars on the back are a swordsman's shame, and that it is shameful to be wounded on your back as if a mark of cowardice or weakness, that your back would ever be turned to an enemy, that you would run away is shameful. But Rob Lucci seems to be proud of the scars on his back. He didn't get them from running away. The symbol of the world government that was emblazoned there by cannon fire. Lucci is described in his backstory as a boy that was sent by the world government to a kingdom where the throne was being threatened, just as the empty throne is being threatened now. There, Lucci killed all the hostages and the soldiers of the kingdom that had failed to protect their people, then turning his sights on the pirates that had originally kidnapped them, defeating them too. Rob Lucci's explanation for his behavior is that he finds it offensive when someone shows weakness around him. Weakness is shameful, just as much as cowardice. The reason Lucci killed these hundreds of soldiers in the past is due to the belief that weakness is a sin. And from there, weakness leads to failure. Failing the gods is unforgivable. Just as Zoro could not forgive himself if something happened to the sun god, his captain Luffy. Zoro has protected Luffy's life as well as his honor from friend and foe alike, from crew members and actual enemies. As we've seen on Egghead Island, Rob Lucci's commitment to the world government and what he calls dark justice continues to be unshakable. Dark justice is a variation of absolute justice, Lucci's personal philosophy of justice that any person or thing that goes against the world government's interests should be destroyed, including weakness. Weakness must be eliminated, and we'll come back to this point. His motto being, necessary evil, as in anything is justified to carry out God's mission. Anyone standing in the way of the gods is evil, and it is acceptable to use any means, even evil, to vanquish them. And you could argue that on Egghead Island, that is exactly what we are seeing now. Evil has been summoned to vanquish these pirates. Something else we can glean from the Zoro-Lucci fight extends duty to loyalty. I plan to go into this more, but the strange eyes of the Gorosei look awfully similar to Imu's eyes in the anime when Imu uses the Mother Flame, chaotic, possessed by something, someone, an emotion maybe, rage, evil. Aside from the Gorosei being the highest ranking subjects of Imu, likely the only ones in the world government that know of his existence. There is the theory that the Gorosei are somehow a part of Imu, and so essentially Imu. Or at the very least, their powers are derived from Imu-sama himself. The Gorosei are Imu's representatives, but who knows if this is true? Would it be fair to view Rob Lucci, if we set the Gorosei aside, would it be fair to view Rob Lucci as the right hand of Imu and the world government, just as Zoro is the right hand of Luffy and the Straw Hat Pirates? Better yet, Zoro as the right hand of Joy Boy. Zoro loyal to the sun god. Lucci loyal to the darkness, the devil that seems to have replaced God. Just as there are those who have been awaiting Joy Boy's return for centuries, waving the flag of dawn, there are those who have dutifully supported Imu's world government for just as long. In chapter 426, we are told that the Tower of Justice and Eni's lobby were under Cypher Pole's domain, and this island has remained intact, protected under their care for 800 years. Those like Lucci have upheld the law of the world government since the Void Century. The duty of dark justice, the darkness they serve. It's fitting that devil fruits are explained as a sort of deal with the devil of this same arc, giving everything, your soul or humanity away, becoming an abomination that angers nature, and so angers God, if we view God as the creator just as Mother Nature has created the world. You could say Lucci carries the world government on his back, an extreme expression of absolute loyalty to the gods or creators of this world. A loyalty that seems to rival not just Zoro to Luffy, but the Gorosei's loyalty to the king of the world, Imu Nerona. I'm even beginning to wonder if Lucci will ever meet this king. the god of the gods he's been serving. Now that he has come face to face with the true appearance of some of these gods, demons rather than angels, especially if the existence of Imu gets revealed alongside whatever else Vegapunk has already shared about the ancient kingdom, giving the Gorosei's praise for Lucci. Imagine Lucci joining the ranks of the Holy Knights. This takes us to the next idea for Rob Lucci's future. Will he become good, an ally again, in service of true justice? We've already seen Lucci and his Cypher Pole team that he arrived with on Egghead Island ally themselves with these Straw Hat Pirates on Egghead Island once before already, and they made a pretty good team. While the Gorosei like Saint Mars expressed pleasure with Rob Lucci's performance, telling him splendid work, the reaction of Lucci told another story. Upon seeing the Gorosei's demonic forms, he looked unusually scared. Was it because the Gorosei look scary as yokai? Is it because their haki must feel incredible, overwhelming up close in person if it feels so from a distance? Or could it be that Lucci is beginning to realize he's been working for the bad guys all this time? Based on chapter 1116, it's difficult to say given Akainu himself, despite hearing Vegapunk's revelatory words, seems to still be aligned with the world government, no matter what type of evil they inflict upon the world. In Akainu's view, pirates are still evil, the greatest of evil. And in the name of absolute justice, evil is fine, if it is done to eliminate piracy. So why would Rob Lucci have a different perspective? Some might ask whether Lucci ever really cared about justice. That is all an act, given what we know about him from pre-time skip. Despite his outward stoic adherence to justice and the rule of law, laws broken only in service to the greater good, Lucci is easily provoked to violence, and beneath his expressionless demeanor lies tremendous pride, arrogance, and extreme bloodlust. In the Tower of Justice at Eni's lobby, Lucci revealed that he only joined the world government so he could be legally allowed to kill people, a sentiment that apparently dates back to his childhood. Lucci's willingness to put himself first, before the desires of the world government, before the will of the gods, is revealed to us when he recklessly compromised the mission of bringing Nico Robin to the gates of justice by allowing Monkey D. Luffy to tail him for the sole purpose of having a battle. Lucci telling Spandam that he allowed himself to be tailed and followed because he never received an order to do otherwise. Lucci even smirking when Luffy burst through the door to begin their fight. This is exactly what he wanted, even if it meant defying the gods in this moment. And so it's entirely fair to conclude that Rob Lucci is a flawed servant of the world government. He could have killed Robin immediately and rid the world of someone capable of reading the poneglyphs, if not for his bloodthirsty desire to fight and do battle with Luffy. Arguably, Lucci fell into a similar trap on Egghead Island when it came to fighting Luffy and Zoro. Once again, Lucci put himself first. As Vegapunk said, everything in this world can be explained by desire. Lucci's desire for battle, his will to kill, compels him more than any loyalty to the world government, to gods in name only. And even if the king of the world were to reveal himself to Lucci, I'm beginning to question if Lucci would ever truly kneel. Kneeling is more than a performance. It is full submission. Not just Lucci's body, but his spirit, composed of all its individuality, ambition, and dreams, would have to kneel as well. And the aftermath of Lucci's fight with Zoro makes that highly questionable, if it would ever happen. Full submission. Rob Lucci has a very strong will. But then again, Enel told us that people kneel before the gods because of fear. That fear itself is God. And now we see Rob Lucci truly afraid for the first time, I believe. As he knelt on the ground, staring in disbelief at the true face of the creators of this world. Is this fair enough to keep Rob Lucci loyal? Let's pretend for a moment that Lucci's commitment to dark justice is increasingly shaky, coming face to face with the face of the darkness behind the justice that has branded Rob Lucci all these years. Mind you, Rob Lucci is not a slave. He's strong enough that he could be free or start his own pirate crew, just like Luffy. Lucci willingly chooses to serve the powers that be. He seemingly basks in the darkness above him as others will the light of day. Dark justice has been his true vocation, as the most cold-blooded murder weapon in the history of Cyberpol. That's what he's known as. The Gorosei don't have to force him to do anything. The gods ask, and it shall be done. In the anime version of the events of a young Rob Lucci's backstory, the pirates that took hostages from the kingdom Lucci was sent to, these pirates looked upon Lucci, the child in front of them, as a heartless monster. Heartless monster is a characterization fitting for Lucci in the context of him being praised by the Gorosei, who are themselves heartless monsters. Nerona also shown to be a heartless monster when ordering the Mother Flame to destroy Luzia Kingdom. But there are signs Lucci is not as cold-blooded as he's been depicted for most of the story. Appearances can be deceiving, and in reality, mammals are actually warm-blooded animals. When the Candy Pirates invaded the island of St. Polar near Water 7 and Annie's Lobby during one of their raids, Lucci, despite all this apparent lack of morality, Rob Lucci displayed some sympathy for those he considers innocent. To save the people, Lucci defeated the Candy Pirates and their captain, though he still displayed excessive force along the lines of dark justice when doing so. Lucci also expressed gratitude to the doctor and health professionals who saved his life after his Enies Lobby defeat. And despite what most would predict about the relationship of a cat and a bird, the leopard, Lucci, has also shown a friendship and concern for his pet pigeon, Hattori, sending him away when in dangerous situations. This shows that deep down, Lucci is not completely heartless, and is more honorable to the people he respects or cares for. You have to ask then, is Rob Lucci capable of love? The same power of love Oda teased on Agate Island. A power that defies logic or reason, leading people to do the unthinkable, to act out of character. Blackbeard's question now feels like prophecy more than foreshadowing, asking which will be victorious against Ace, the light or the darkness, paralleled on Winter Island with Law versus Blackbeard. The Heart Pirates versus Blackbeard. The Heart versus Darkness. Will the heart be consumed by darkness? Or is it true that love always wins? Recall what Vegapunk said about love as an explanation for Kuma's sudden arrival to Agate Island despite having his mind and free will supposedly stolen from him, his humanity shut off, and how we saw Kainu begin to question Kuma's actions as if he was projecting and really second-guessing himself as the fleet admiral, as the red dog of the government, should the dog finally bite its master's hand. And even Kizaru has shown some internal struggle over the mission assigned to him. Is this really justice? In response to Vegapunk's commentary on the power of love, Saturn ties love to human error and says to err, to make mistakes is human. Love is a weakness no different than any other weakness Rob Lucci's dark justice strives to eliminate, as we mentioned earlier. Up until now, Rob Lucci has been a heartless monster who has thrown away his own free will in absolute service to the world government and its creators. Unlike Kuma, Lucci has been a willing slave in a way, and so not slavery but voluntary servitude, self-imposed bondage, chains he could break at any time. But maybe Oda is giving us a glimpse of a potential plot twist or shift in Lucci's character. Maybe love, the light, can still win. The Gorosei Saint Mars threatens to destroy the lab on Egget Island, despite Lucci telling him that his partner Kaku was badly injured in the control room. We see Lucci on his knees pleading, throwing shame away, the same way Zoro did with Dracul Mihawk when it came to his swordsmanship training during the time skip. Lucci pleads for Kaku's life to be spared, but Saint Mars tells him no promises can be made. It might not be possible to spare the life of one insect when you're exterminating the hive. I wonder how Lucci feels about the life of his friend, his own life, being regarded as that of an insect, insignificant despite all the sacrifices made in service to the world government. Is this what justice truly looks like? And when we see the Gorosei Mars ignore Kaku in chapter 1112, who knows that this is the end of that encounter? Kaku's life could still be in danger. And so what will Lucci do, especially since awakened Zoans can quickly recover from their injuries? Yet we go back to the kingdom that the young Rob Lucci was sent to as a child assassin. Lucci explaining why he killed the soldiers that he should have otherwise sided with. Lucci says, "They were criminals, so I killed them in the name of justice. As soldiers, weakness is a sin. They surrendered to evil and caused a crisis in the kingdom. That type of soldier doesn't deserve to live, so they're dead." The situation with Kaku on Egghead Island is similar. Some might say exactly the same. Kaku is too weak, a failure in the eyes of the gods, unlike Lucci. And yet Rob Lucci still tried to bargain with the devil, still tried to convince Saint Mars to spare Kaku's life. Are you also sensing a change? There is some evidence from the other CP0 Cypherpole agents that supports this overarching idea. The agents we met during Wano and Onigashima. We see the lead CP0 agent on Onigashima named Guernica, the one that interrupted the Luffy-Kaido fight, who took a picture of Gear 5 Luffy and is either dead or missing in action, MIA. This Cypherpole agent showed some emotion at the loss of his comrade in battle to Izo, and in turn, the other CP0 agent showed some emotion by tipping his hat out of respect when Kaido's club crashed into Guernica. So we know they care about each other, not just Lucci and Kaku, but other Cypherpole agents that have given their lives in service to the same cause. Prior to this final moment, CP0 Guernica was stabbed by Drake and told Drake that he envied him. A Cypherpole agent was envious of the ability to act on your own beliefs, despite their shadowy nature as spies and assassins. The members of CP0 do still seem to have feelings for each other. They are still human, capable of admiration or even love. The very emotion Saturn was worried about. Love, humanity, and free will. That which contributed to Vegapunk and Kuma disobeying the world government. Will another join that list of traitors? Again, the light or the darkness, which will win? I think there might be a reason Oda gave Rob Lucci the devil fruit that he did, making him a leopard man or leopard human. There is an expression that a leopard never changes its spots. That phrase, a leopard never changes its spots, means that it's impossible for one to change their character, even if they try very hard. The expression, sometimes also stated as a leopard can't change its spots, is used to explain the idea that no one can change their innate nature. essentially arguing that you are a slave to your birth or your upbringing, imprisoned by nature and nurture. In the clash between Luffy and Lucci, besides the implications of dreams and desires, there is a hint at will power. Vegapunk mentioned the devil fruits as reflections of human evolution, the capacity to change, to become something or someone else, the will or desire to grow and reach our true potential, to achieve a dream. Dreams are central to Oda's story. Did anyone ever stop to ask, what is Rob Lucci's dream? Has anyone ever asked him this question? Dreams are inspiring, contagious, and the god of dreams, the sun god Luffy, might just reveal this about Lucci, the light winning him over. Despite faithfully serving the celestial dragons and considering them divine rulers of the world who have the right to obtain what they want from normal humans without question, Rob Lucci has shown himself to be one of the few government agents that is willing to question the world government despite the dangers of doing so. Like when he questioned what really happened to Luzia Kingdom and why Cypher Pole was being sent to kill Vegapunk. From this new outlook, what could Lucci be thinking now? Recall what Aokiji and Doflamingo said about justice, how each implied that justice changes its shape depending on where you stand, your position in the world, your lived and ongoing lived experiences, expands or alters your world view. And from the position on the ground beneath the Gorosei Saint Mars, I wonder if Rob Lucci's perspective of justice has shifted in one direction or the other. Does he now recognize that the evil he believed he was sent to vanquish, that he has been serving this evil all this time? There is a theory that the color of the cloud or ribbon around awakened devil fruit users means something. White and black. The light versus the darkness. In yin and yang, this is not seen as so much as evil versus good, as it is a necessary pairing of negativity and positivity. Each is necessary to preserve the harmony of the universe, and so once again, dark justice, a necessary evil. Vegapunk even refuses to judge the Gorosei or Nerona specifically as evil, but that could just be the objective, neutral scientist in Vegapunk speaking, refusing to make a moral judgment. Rob Lucci, on the other hand, is no scientist and said in chapter 426 that evil will not prosper in this world. If Lucci finally realizes the world government is evil, will he finally stand up, no longer kneeling out of fear? Will the awakened cloak around him turn from black to white? Can a leopard change its spots? There's one final random idea I wanted to throw in there for the future of Rob Lucci besides Conquerors or switching sides, whether that happens or not. It ties into the Rob Lucci bull mask. Maybe some of you have noticed this before. Lucci's mask has the same spiral red eyes as Imu. In chapter 343, Rob Lucci says he came from the darkness on behalf of justice. The cover story for this chapter shows Gidatsu, the former servant of Enel, a god of the sky that has been compared to Imu. Gidatsu sitting on a throne with 5 others looking at him just as the Gorosei do Imu. Something else to throw out there when it comes to the Queen Lily possession body snatcher theories out there. Imu potentially being both male and female or having neither identity, akin to a neutral deity. Someone on Twitter translated the kanji of the cover page for me, and it shows a bathhouse with the middle kanji meaning hot water. The left kanji means male, and the right kanji means female, for their respective baths. Half is male, half is female, and water, bath water, the sea devil. We also see Rob Lucci say the following in chapter 343, that he was going to take your life, since you now know too much, implying that people needed to be killed, erased, for learning too much forbidden knowledge, in this case about the ancient weapons. Like Professor Clover and now Vegapunk, the light Imu erases, like islands that never existed, along with the spiral red eyes on Rob Lucci's mask back then. Is Oda implying a relationship between Rob Lucci's character and Imu? Does Lucci's character hint at Imu's own backstory, or part of it? Lucci's birthday, June 2nd, comes from his name, since 6-2 can be derived from Rob or Robu in Japanese. A fan noted that Rob is another word for steel, and Lucci sounds similar to the Italian word luce, meaning light, thus potentially giving Rob Lucci's name the meaning of steel, the light, which follows his theme of dark justice and the comparisons to Imu. The only light to erase on this island, Egghead Island, would be Nico Robin, who is known as the Light of the Revolution, or the Sun God Luffy. Anyways, will Rob Lucci consider to serve a purpose, perhaps a darker purpose in the story, or a brighter one? According to the 22nd log, Lucci's role as an antagonist during the Water 7 saga was a relatively late decision by Oda, and not part of his original plans. Rob Lucci as we know him was never supposed to exist. Apparently, Lucci was going to be just one of many shipwrights introduced during the arc, before Ichiro Oda decided to change him into an undercover Cypherpole agent. Why did Oda feel the need to change his plans and turn a forgettable side character into one of One Piece's best and most memorable villains? Justice is decided by the winners, and Rob Lucci hasn't lost yet. Maybe the justice of Lucci will surprise us again. But as usual, we will have to wait and see. Don't forget to like the video, comment with your thoughts below, and subscribe. You can also find me on Twitter at the following address, @VinlandRagnar. My Twitter page is on the screen. Also check out my other One Piece channel called Vinland Leaks, soon to be titled Vinland Dark, where I'll be dropping One Piece videos in a different format, as well as turning your comments into videos. Again, links will be in the description box and pinned in the comment section below. As always, there is more to come. Until next time.